But the mother says now to the servants, whatever he says to you, do it. So he didn't say he was going to do anything, right? She says, we have no wine. Not a question, not a request at all. Assuming that just from stating there's a problem here, expecting that her son will act. He says, how is this my business? I.e., it looks to the reader like he's not going to do anything about it. It's not his problem. But then the mother turns around and she acts in faith, knowing that even though he didn't say he was going to do anything, knowing her son, whatever he says to you, do it. He is, after all, a Jewish son, and she is a Jewish mother. And as a Jewish son, she knows that ultimately he can't turn down a problem that his Jewish mama points out to him. And so let's see what happens. Is she right? Does she move forward in faith correctly? Well, now there are 6 stone water pots set there for the Jewish custom of purification. Stone was preferred because it wasn't porous, it couldn't be contaminated, couldn't be made unclean. Containing 20 or 30 gallons each. 6 stone water pots containing 20 or 30 gallons each. So the least amount of water in these stone water pots would have been how much? 120. Okay, good. Yeah, thank God. Okay, good. And the greatest amount? 180. Right, so between 100, thank you, Steve. So reliable, so dependable, right? So between 120, 180, let's say 150 for all intents and purposes. 150 gallons of water in a stone water pot. And they're used for purification. Purification, you remember, for those of us who've been to Israel, and those of you who have heard me preach on mikvot before, you know that ceremonial washing was a big deal for Jewish people. On the lower end of the scale, the ceremonial washing of hands before a festival meal or a celebration meal. So there's purification, but that's a lot of hands to wash with 180, 150, whatever it is, gallons of water. So this most likely is to help fill the mikvah with the purification water. But regardless, you have stone water pots that are to be used for purification purposes. And Jesus said to them, fill the water pots with water. Perhaps there was some rainwater already in there. Go draw some water from the nearby well and fill them up, these purification vessels. Fill them with water, and so the servants filled them to the brim. This is what a water pot, a stone water pot would have looked like. This is the Israel Museum. Those of you who are with me, you remember quite well going to the Israel Museum. And he said to them, now, what's that? You remember? Yes? Yes, the brief glimpse of, right, exactly right. Yes, yes. Ossuaries, water pots, and little figurines. Yes. And he said to them, draw some out now from the water pots. Take these water pots that are supposed to be used for ritual purification, ritual washing. Draw some of that water out now. Now, that's not bath water. Don't get nobody's climbing into a little stone water pot, no, they're poured out. Draw some out now and take it to the head waiter. So they took it to him. When the head waiter tasted the water, which had become wine, some kind of an amazing transfiguration, right? Water had become wine between the time that the servants had filled the vessels, the stone vessels, and when they poured it out, went from water to wine. But the head waiter tasted the water, which had become wine, and did not know where it had come from, but the servants who had drawn the water knew. So apparently, one of the servants gave him a cup and said, taste this, right? Not going to tell you anything about it. Just taste this. See, Mikey will try it. He likes everything. He'll drink anything. So give it to him, right? Now, this is a gallon of wine. So we're talking about a lot of wine. 150, it's 4 liters, it's a gallon. We're talking about 150 of these because it's midway through the wedding nose, right? We've got another at least 3-4 days to go. We're going to, and we have a lot of guests, but even so, 150 gallons of wine, that's a lot of wine, right? That's a lot of wine. And when the head waiter, he called the bridegroom. And he says to the bridegroom, every man serves the good wine first. And when the people have drunk freely, in other words, when there's a certain level of inebriation that has kicked in and their palates are less discerning over time, he serves the poorer wine. That just makes good sense, right? You bring the best for the front end, and then as everybody gets comfortable, relaxed, okay, then you bring the B level. But you have kept the good wine until now. So in other words, instead of, in this honor-shame society, instead of being humiliated and shamed because he ran out of wine in the middle of his own wedding festival week, the head waiter, the master of ceremonies, if you will, says to him, I commend you. You are to be honored because you break the normal pattern of hospitality that we all have ever been to a wedding, you ever been to a ceremony. We all know, yeah, you have the good stuff. That's for the first day, but after you get the other stuff, and well, it doesn't matter at that point. But you've broken the pattern. You've kept the good wine until now.